Hello guys, and welcome back to another video. I'd like to thank all the new subscribers and all my previous subscribers for supporting my videos and giving it a big thumbs up, which really helps. So please continue to do that, and please continue to show me your appreciation and love. So today I want to discuss a little thing that I've seen on the Maxon website, and then we're going to try to recreate it. So what we want to recreate is this type of effect here, where this sphere sort of inflates and then creates these pockets, and then pockets inflate. It looks a bit like a boil. If I can pause it here, there you go. It looks like a boil sort of expanding, and we're going to have a look at how we can tackle it. This was created by the brilliant artist called Raw and Rendered. So let's get straight to it. First of all, I need to mention that for this thing to work, for this particular tutorial to work, you're going to need the latest Cinema4D, which is the 2023.2. And the reason for that is because Maxon has given us a new update in which they've given us another field which we can access, which is the map field in Balloon, which is going to make it a lot easier. You can do this without having that, but I might make a tutorial on it a bit later on if you're on the previous version. So let's get straight to it. So first of all, you want to pick a primitive. You can pretty much pick whichever one you want. I'm going to go with a sphere, and I'm going to crank up the segments, and then I'm going to hit NB, which is ground shading lines. It's just the view type, and I'm going to also turn off the work plane. Then what I want to do is turn the type into a hexahedron for more quaded mesh. Actually, no, I'm going to go with icosahedron. And yeah, we're going to put a tag on it, which is a cloth tag. You can either right click, go to simulation, click cloth, or I've got my own little custom toolbar here, so I'll just click it from there. And then we want to go into edit, project settings, go into simulation, and take off the gravity, so make it go to 0. Also, I know this is going to come a bit later on, but I'd rather just tick it now. We want to tick this simulate before generators, as we're going to be applying a subdivision surface to this. And if you have this whilst you've got any sort of PBD simulation tag on there, it's going to slow down the simulation even further, or the viewport speed, should I say. So if you go into cloth, you will see in the balloon section we have this map field, in which we can now put in maps. Before we couldn't do that, and yeah, it makes things a lot easier. Like I said, you can do it in the previous version, but it was a bit hacky to do it because you had to mess around with loads of other settings to get something similar working. So what we're going to do now is we're going to add a vertex map, because we are going to run it by a map. We're going to add a shader field, and the shader field that I'm going to go for is going to be a noise. And then the noise type I'm going to pick is Voronoi. So we've got Stupel, we've got Seema. You can pick whichever one you want, but I'm going to pick Voronoi 3. It's best off to have more segments. As you can see, whilst we're on the vertex map, the lesser, should I say, segments you have, or the less amount of segments you have, the more distorted the vertex map is going to be. And as you can see, the higher you get, the more clear it shows. If I go to the normal ground view, as you can see there, it looks a lot prettier, and it's more pixel perfect, should I say, or getting to pixel perfect. So I'm going to take down the segments again. I'm going to keep it around about 100, maybe even 150, and then I'm going to go into the shader field, and I'm going to increase the global scale. So we've got a fair few. Now, another thing I need to mention is that if, for example, you were to do this by adding this and then going into balloon, putting this into balloon, you'd think, oh yeah, it's going to work now. But you'll find that it's not going to work, because first of all, we need a higher level. It's going to do this weird thing. And the reason for that is because as the mesh is expanding, the vertex map is expanding with it, which is causing the vertex map to swim. As you can see, the vertex map is updating as well, which we don't want. We want the vertex map to be initiated and stay on the first frame as it is and stick to the polygon. So how we're going to do that is we're going to use something called freeze. All we're going to do is go into this modifier layers and select freeze, which is quite nicely imaged, which is a snowflake, and the freeze will do exactly what it says, which is freeze. Now you can see the vertex map is not moving, it's staying put. So you're probably thinking, well, why is it not bulging like a boil like it was in the other video? I'm going to first take this down a bit, as it is a lot of pressure, and once I do start getting the settings right, it will explode the simulation and make it act weird. What we then want to do is we want to go into mix animation, and when it says with pins, we want to activate that. So what this does is basically it takes a map and it says, for example, wherever the red bits are, they are going to be at the power of 0, meaning the cloth simulation is not going to take over. And wherever the yellow parts are, or wherever it's getting to that gradual yellow, it will activate the cloth. So if you go back into the cloth tag, go into mix animation and grab this vertex map and put it in. When we press play, I think it's going to go weird straight off the bat. Yep, it is. That's because now we've just said to it that exactly take them points from where they are and expand it, and we don't want to do that because it doesn't create a fall off. So what we do is we take the influence down, which gives it a bit more of a smoother transition to go from the mesh to becoming the cloth, and using the vertex map it sort of smooths it, so I don't need to create another vertex map and then use average. We can just use this one, and now when I press play, there we go, we're getting something a bit more sort of stable. Then what we want to do, speaking of stability, is we want to go back into project settings, which was Control D shortcut key, or edit and project settings. We want to turn up the substeps. The substeps are the amount of sort of calculations it does in between frames. We want to take that to about 30, and iterations we can take to 2. And I'm going to turn up the dampening a bit as well, so as the simulation's happening, the cloth, as it sort of expands out, it's got some of its power taken away from it. So I might take it to about 15, see what that does. Press play. There we go, we're getting a bit smoother. We are getting some jittering going on, but we will fix that. So if you go back into surface, now this is where you can sort of in one sense art direct it a bit more and get it a bit more cloth like looking, or similar to the example that I showed you. So bendiness, we want to turn that up to about, I'd say about 3500. Stretchiness, we need to turn that up to about, I'd say about 850. And the target length, we want to turn that up to about 150. And on the target length, it'll probably be closed. You're going to click this arrow, it's going to give us a whole bunch of more settings. And in map, we're going to also drag in this vertex map. The reason why we're doing that is it's going to say to all these yellow bits, you are allowed to get bigger in size, and the red bits are going to have to abide by its rule and not increase in size. So once I do this, them parts only will sort of increase, and yeah, we should get a bit more natural movement going on. As we can still see, it's still a bit stiff there. These parts here especially, if we go NB, we'll be able to see what is exactly going on. So it's sort of exploding from there. I think it might be because of my freeze field. Let me just take that down. Let me just edit the global scale a bit more, create maybe fewer pockets, and then I'm going to also make it a bit more contrasty so it breaks up from connecting to each other. And let's turn this down a bit, turn the contrast up a bit. Now we've got fewer pockets. Let's see if we can get a bit more like so, and let's see what happens now. Ooh, simulation is sort of exploding again. Go back into substeps. Let me turn this to about 40 iterations. Let me turn that to 3 smoothing iterations. I'll turn that to 1. Let's try again. maybe my balloon settings are a bit too high. Let me change that to 2. Wow, it's not really liking it, is it? So what we need to do is we need to go into the cloth settings, mix animation, and I think this influence is still too high. So as we reduce it, you'll be able to pretty much instantly see the difference. There we go, we are getting now more so of this boil type effect. Let's reduce it a bit more, maybe a bit less there. So that is pretty much the effect. You can obviously go into your settings, you can overpressure it a bit more if you'd like. You can go to surface, turn it up, you can even make the target length actually bigger, in which it will inflate these balloons a lot more. And you can tinker with a lot more settings. You can go into soft body, activate that, and adjust it till your heart's content. What else you can do, and the best practice of doing this, is after you've done the initial simulation on this first base layer, you could say, then I would add a subdivision surface. Now if you remember at the start, there was a reason why I told you to take this, which is here, simulate before generators. I think this is a bit too heavily dense, and now if you press play, you'll see you'll get a lot more definition and a lot more sort of resolution out of it. So this is a different type of one I created here, as you can see, and then I created a complete different one before that when I was trialing it out, which is this one. Oop, it's not on. It would help if it is on. There we go. And this is the other one I trialed out. As you can see, it's a lot smaller, a lot slower, and that's because there's a lot more of these smaller type bubbles. Let me turn off subdivision surface, and as you can see, it's quite squarish and pixelated, you could say, or distorted when it's not got the subdivision surface on. And then when it does have it, you can see automatically the frame rates drop as well, as it's there's a lot more geometry to deal with. But yeah guys, I thought I'd share this technique with you, yeah, so this is how it looks in Arnold after I textured it. I can go into texturing if people like, but I don't know if anyone's really interested in texturing. I think there's a lot of people out there who know how to texture anyway, but I will start doing hopefully a texturing series as well, and I will show you guys how to sort of texture and get these nodes working and everything else. But yeah, that's that. If we can show you on here, obviously it's doing it on a lower sample, hence the I think these are called these noise, yeah, the white noise and everything else you're getting, but that's due to not white noise, just noise, because of the iteration that it's on in the render settings. But yeah guys, thank you very much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Please do like, share and subscribe, and like I said, if there's any other videos that you guys have seen, or you've seen a particular advert or something that you'd want me to recreate, please drop a comment down in the comments below, maybe with a link or something of the video, and I'll happily try to recreate it as soon as I've got a bit of free time. So yeah guys, thanks again for watching. Please do like, share and subscribe, and we'll catch you on the next one.